What happens when the world's most powerful military leader issues a public ultimatum to a nation of 88 million people? On January 26, 2025, Donald Trump, now back in the Oval Office, issued what many are calling his strongest warning yet to Iran. Today, we're not here to pick sides. We're here to decode what's really happening beneath the surface of this escalating rhetoric. Let's start with what Trump actually said, and more importantly, what he didn't say. First, overwhelming force. This isn't just a threat of retaliation. In military doctrine, it means disproportionate response. Second, personally responsible. It's the same language used before operations against Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, and Osama bin Laden. Third, the absence of any mention of diplomacy. What's not said is often more important than what is said. This matters because ultimatums create a commitment trap. Once issued publicly, neither side can back down without appearing weak. To understand why this matters, we need to go back. Way back, because U.S. Iran relations didn't start with the 1979 hostage crisis. In 1953, the democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran, Mohammad Mossadegh, nationalized the country's oil industry for his people. The response? The CIA and MI6 orchestrated Operation Ajax, a coup that overthrew Mossadegh and installed a brutal dictator. The Shah's secret police, Savak, tortured and killed thousands. But he was America's ally, so it was ignored to keep the oil flowing. When the 1979 revolution overthrew the Shah, it wasn't just about Islam. It was about independence from foreign control. Then came the 1980s. Iraq, armed and encouraged by the United States, invaded Iran. Over 1 million people died in 8 years of brutal war. Fast forward to 2015. After years of negotiations, Iran signed the JCPOA, the nuclear deal. International inspectors verified it was working. Then in 2018, Trump withdrew the United States from the agreement and reimposed crippling sanctions. Then in 2020, Trump ordered the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, Iran's second most powerful leader. I'm not justifying Iran's actions, but if we want to understand the current crisis, we need to understand that both sides have legitimate reasons to distrust each other. Now let's talk about why public ultimatums are so dangerous from a psychological standpoint. When leaders issue threats privately, they leave room for face-saving compromises. Back channels can function. But public ultimatums trigger what psychologists call audience costs. The political price leaders pay if they back down. For Trump, backing down means looking weak. For Iran's leader, it means appearing to submit. So both leaders are now trapped. The Cuban Missile Crisis is instructive here. In public, they issued ultimatums, but behind the scenes, they were frantically negotiating. There's also reactive devaluation. When one side makes a proposal, the other side automatically devalues it simply because of who it came from. This is why neutral third parties are crucial, but Trump has systematically alienated many of America's traditional allies who could play that role. So we have two leaders, both trapped, both facing domestic pressures, and no trusted intermediaries. That's not a recipe for peace. That's a recipe for miscalculation. If you're finding value in this analysis, do me a favor. Pause the video right now and hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Unlike mainstream media that gives you 5-minute sound bites, we go deep. We give you context. That's the RedLine USA difference. Alright, let's continue. Because now we need to talk about what this means militarily and why the scenarios are far more complex than most people realize. First, U.S. military superiority is undeniable. The United States has 10 aircraft carrier strike groups. Iran has 0. But Iran won't fight a conventional war. They learned this lesson from Saddam. Iran's strategy is asymmetric warfare. 1. The Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's oil passes through. They don't need to close it, just make it dangerous. 2. Regional proxy networks. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, Iraqi militias. Iran has spent decades building these networks. 3. Ballistic missiles. Every U.S. base in the region, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, is within range. 4. Cyber warfare. 5. A difficult occupation. Iran is not Iraq. It has 88 million people and mountainous terrain. So when military analysts game this out, they see a scenario where America wins the war but loses the peace. That's the reality. So if ultimatums and military threats are so dangerous, what are the alternatives? What's the path not being taken? Let's acknowledge what's not on the table anymore. The JCPOA. It had flaws, but it was working. Today, after the withdrawal, Iran's breakout time is estimated at just weeks. What could work? Nixon went to China. Reagan negotiated with the evil empire. Leaders chose pragmatism over ideology. A viable approach involves confidence-building measures, a broader regional security framework, and addressing legitimate grievances on all sides. Before we wrap up, we need to talk about what gets lost in all this geopolitical chess: actual human beings. In Tehran, there's a university student who wants to become a doctor. 70% of Iran's population is under 35. They suffer most from sanctions. And if this escalates, it's not politicians who fight, it's working-class kids. We've already lost 7,000 service members in Iraq and Afghanistan. Here's what I want you to take away. This situation is complex. Military superiority isn't a simple answer, and diplomatic solutions require courage. If this analysis added value, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. Drop a comment below. Are diplomatic solutions still possible? This is RedLine USA. Thanks for watching, thanks for thinking critically, and I'll see you in the next one.